Hello there, it is I, Shepherd Sean, bringing to you another episode of the Guide to Avaritia, and in this episode we are talking about mods and mod interactions with Avaritia. Now, you might notice here, well, I say you might notice, that there are, this area is, not looking much like a tutorial sort of area. Well, there is a reason for that, and I am going to be getting into it right now. Okay, so, mod interactions with Avaritia. It's interesting. I've said it before, but it can differ a lot. So this video is actually going to take place in two different world saves. This particular world save was just a survival world I did a while back. I think this one's a couple months old at this point. It's one of the places I first used Avaritia. I haven't completely gotten through it in this world, and that's cool. But yeah, it's a good place to show off some of the differences, and then we're going to go into a different survival world. Survival? No. I messed that up. Yeah, we're going to go into a different world save in which I have basically done absolutely nothing, just to show you some of the differences. So, now that my rambling is out of the way, me getting confused, time to show you some of those differences. Oh look, a Neutronium Compressor! They've only got one. I've run so far with this. Anyway, so you know how, Avaritia by itself, the recipes required like 400 and 500 blocks and that sort of thing. 8,400 blocks of gold. And I've got 5,158 in there at the moment. 8,000. Yeah, so this is one of the really obvious differences, and this is because of mods. Let's show this real quick. F3. You can see in the top left that I am running 86 mods, only 73 of which work for whatever reason. But anyway, 86 mods. Essentially, the way Avaritia does this is the more mods you have, and I believe it's the more mods that specifically interact with Avaritia, the more blocks you have to put into the Neutronium Compressor. Yeah. So I've seen up to 16,000 blocks for some of these, with some amount of mods. Yeah, that's using more mods changes the difficulty. And of course, by difficulty in this, I actually mean how time-consuming it is. But that is not the only change. And to do that, let's just go into NEI. So, the primary other change, aside from the fact that using mods lets you use stuff like this, Nickel Singularity, these ones that are still in the mod in just Avaritia, but only work when you have, if you're running mods that actually have those metals. And the other primary difference has to do with the Infinity Catalyst. Click. You notice that that's a bit different from the normal Infinity Catalyst. Yeah, so the more mods that interact with Avaritia, the more items you have to use for the Infinity Catalyst. Let's see, what does this have? This is block of bedrockium from extra utilities, unstable ingot block from extra utilities, ludicrate ingot from big reactors, block of maniolan from Tinker's Construct, red matter from Project E, pink slime crystal from Mine Factory Reloaded, just normal music disc, copper, tin, leaden, silver, and nickel singularities, enderium block from Thermal Foundation, a block of steel from, I can't say that this is just from whatever mods add steel, and dark steel block from Ender.io. Yeah. So instead of just requiring block of emerald and like 500 of each of these and just one of these to get one of these, you gotta get all of these as well. And I can't tell you that this one here is actually probably the most time consuming. Yeah, so anyway, other couple of differences. Cosmic Meatballs. Oh, look at this. It's got a couple more items in the recipe. Raw Impide from Natura, and Raw Meat Ingot from Mine Factory Reloaded. So that's another difference. Both the Cosmic Meatballs and the Ultimate Stew have different recipes depending on the mods used. Like I'm running the Natura mod with this, and it's add all these little fruit things as well as thorn vines for some reason from the Natura mod. And this, interestingly, it makes 2 ultimate stews rather than just 1. So that's neat. Now, a couple other things before we leave this world. I stated that I was running 86 mods, and again, only 73 of them work. Not all of these mods interact with Avaritia. For example, Abyssalcraft. I'm running Abyssalcraft in this world. You notice that there are no Abyssalcraft items in this, or this, or this? Yeah, no. Avaritia has absolutely no interaction with Abyssalcraft. Why? I don't know. For whatever reason, it just doesn't. And that's pretty much how it is with a bunch of mods. Not all mods interact with it. For example, Ore Spawn. Ore Spawn would be the kind of mod you would really think would have something in here. Like have some sort of like really high tier item that they add. But no, it doesn't. Which is kind of too bad because Ore Spawn kind of breaks Avaritia. But more on that later. So, at this point I have talked about some stuff here. Talked about the things I think I need to talk about for this world. And so now we're going to switch over to the other world to show off just how different things can be. Okay, so now we're in a different world. And I'm in creative mode at the moment, but that doesn't really matter. What does matter is, in fact, the area around me. You will once again notice that this doesn't exactly look much like a tutorial area. And I'm about to get into why. So, you'll notice that I am standing on 2 chests. So let's look at what's inside, shall we? Infinity armor makes everything too fast. I can't click on anything. This diamond chest is full of all the normal Avaritia items. I included these ones in here just because they're in the normal mod, even if you can't use them just with Avaritia. So, how many items is that? I think it's 34? I think? 34 different items added by Avaritia under normal circumstances. And this obsidian chest here has all the... well, I say all the items. Most of the items I know of that are added through Avaritia with various mods. And you'll notice that's almost double. Yeah. And more than half of them are from Tinker's Construct. Yeah, there are literally more items added through Tinker's Construct with Avaritia than there are in Avaritia itself. It's kind of nuts. So yeah, building that huge area with the for the extreme crafting table stuff, that took close to 45 minutes. Yeah, imagine something about 3 or 4 times that size just for Tinker's Construct. Yeah, I may have a lot of free time, but I don't have that much free time, sorry. So yeah, I'm just gonna stick with NEI for this stuff. But yeah, there's a lot of stuff here. Now before we go into all that new stuff added, let's talk about the Neutronium Compressor again. Now, NEI adds recipes for this type of interface. So let's look at them. So, remember how that other world the blocks of gold required 8,400. In this world, it needs 14,800. Blocks of iron, 16,400. Oh joy. Redstone, 17,000. Oh boy. And here are some of the extras. And here's something interesting. Signalum Singularity. Lumium Singularity. If you notice, those aren't in here. And if you really notice, it doesn't say Avaritia under it. It says Thermal Singularities where the mod is. That is because Thermal Singularities is an add-on created for Avaritia by... Oh crud. I can't remember. Do I have it? I don't have it written down. I'll put it in a caption or an annotation or something. That person there, they are the ones who created the Thermal Singularities add-on for Avaritia. Essentially, the Thermal Singularities is... it adds singularities for items from the various thermal foundation, or is it thermodynamics? Thermodynamics mods. There are a whole bunch of them that are interconnected. I can never remember which is which. Anyway, so Signalum and Lumium are two of the metals added by those sets of mods. Yeah. And here's another one. Enderium. Wasn't there a fourth? Could have sworn there were more. Anyway. So, yeah. Someone has actually made an add-on for Avaritia. And that's pretty cool. So, the other I swear, this thing just makes it too fast for me to click on stuff. So, some of the other differences. Remember how the Cosmic Meatballs and the Ultimate Stew were based on foods added by the mods? So let's look at the Cosmic Meatballs. You'll notice that it actually uses less items than that in the other world. It only uses 1 raw beef, 1 raw chicken, 1 raw pork chop, 1 raw fish, 1 raw venison from the Twilight Forest mod, a raw meat from the Twilight Forest mod, 1 raw imp hide from Natura, pig fat from Ars Magica 2, a raw meat ingot from Mine Factory Reloaded, and a raw mutton from Pam's Harvest Craft. Compared to that other world, which used 2 of each of these, and 2 of those, this actually uses less, which is interesting, and it's... NEI is blocking that. There we go. It makes 1 of these. Neat. Yeah, okay, so, Ultimate Stew. Let's look at this. Wow. So, Pam's Harvest Craft. If you've never used it, Pam's Harvest Craft adds a lot of types of food to Minecraft. And, because of the way Avaritia is set up, you literally need to fill the extreme crafting grid with stuff from Pam's Harvest Craft to make, interestingly enough, 9 Ultimate Stews. So while this is time-consuming to get all this stuff, it's actually kind of worth it compared to the other ones, since you get 9 of these out of just 1 pile of neutrons. That's neat. But yeah, this is a lot of stuff. And of course it still uses Natura items and of course the vanilla items. So yeah, although I will, before I get out of this, I will say that I haven't encountered too many mods that alter the Ultimate Stew on the Cosmic Meatballs. Yeah, and I don't know if they overwrite each other in any way or anything. Yeah. Pam's Harvest Craft, it adds a lot of stuff. I'm not completely sure. I haven't encountered anything that does that. Yeah. So, let's move on to the other primary, well, I say primary, really noticeable change. The Infinity Catalysts. Even more items. Oh boy. So, What does this require? Well, it requires all the normal stuff. It also requires this, Extremely Primordial Pearl, which you notice is from Avaritia. It's a modded item that only shows up in certain circumstances. I'm going to talk about that. Icorium from Thaumic Tinkerer. Enhanced Galgadorian Block from Steve Carts 2. 64k ME storage component from Applied Energistics 2. A Singularity from Applied Energistics 2. Block of Bedrockium, Unstable Ingot. Block of Terra Steel from Botania. A Gaia Spirit from Botania. Crystal Cluster from Blood Magic. Awakened Draconium from Block from Draconic Evolution. Ludicrite, Block of Manulian, Red Matter, Pink Slime Crystal, Ironwood Ingot from the Twilight Forest, Pure Essence from Ars Magica 2, Sunstone from Ars Magica 2, Music Disc, Singularities, Enderium Block, Steel Block, which, like I said before, you notice that it is changing which mod it's from. It's Tinker's Construct, Metallurgy 4, Tinker's switching between them, Railcraft, yeah, Tartarite Ingot for Metallurgy 4, Dark Steel Block again, and these three Signalum, Lumium, and Enderium Singularities from Thermal Singularities. Yeah, it's a lot of stuff. And none of it's easy to get. Heck, I think the Enderium block might actually be the easiest thing to get on this. That's kind of crazy. But yeah. Lots of stuff to make Infinity Catalysts. Like I said, adding mods just pretty much just changes the amount of time you have to spend on the mod. Which, depending on your perspective, is changing the difficulty. Okay, now, before I get into all the other stuff added by it, let's look at just how many mods I'm running. I've got 91 mods loaded, and only 83 of them are active. You'll notice that's not a whole lot more than that other world. And it, the Singularities needed almost doubled. Well, I say almost doubled. It's more like 1.5. Anyway. More mods. More items. Click. There we go. And before I go any further, I will say I have not found every single mod that interacts with Avaritia. I don't know every mod that interacts with Avaritia. This world save, this is basically as many mods that I could find that interact with Avaritia. Some of the mods in this don't interact with it at all, like Hardcore Ender expansion. It has absolutely no interaction with Avaritia. Yeah. Again, I don't know exactly why it does and doesn't. I'm pretty sure some of them are coded in for various reasons. Like stuff that specifically adds specific items, like Tinker's Construct, Blood Magic, and Botania. Those are specific interactions that were intended. But the other stuff, I don't know everything about. Okay, so now time to start talking about these items. Now, I'm going to get the vast majority of them out of the way real quick. First off, BC Transport. These are the cover items, facades. Yeah, they're there. You can use them if you feel like using the materials for them. Yeah. Nothing super special or interesting about those. They're there. If you feel like spending the blocks, go ahead and do it. I wouldn't. But that's, of course, my opinion. Let's see. And, of course, the Tinker's Construct stuff. Now, these are individual parts for the Tinker's Construct. You can, of course, have specialized... I'll just show you. Where is it? I passed it. These special full tools for these. These are just made from nothing but the specific parts They have their own special modifiers. The Neutronium has the supermassive, and the Infinity has cosmic and unbreakable. Yeah. But anyway, let's talk a bit more about the parts, since you wouldn't be using the part to create the tools if you were in survival. So, the Neutronium stuff. Let's click R, show the recipes. And of course, if you've used Tinker's Construct, you know that NEI does not actually show you the recipes for the individual pieces of Tinker's Construct. That's because these are... I don't have the block out at the moment. Give me a second. Okay. The Tinker's Construct parts need to be created through the part builder item. The block. The part builder block. So, just like normal stuff in Tinker's Construct, you use the various ingots and materials to make the pieces. Neutronium sword blade, Neutronium tool rod, which creates a Neutronium shard because that's how it works. Full guard, and of course you use the tool forge or the tool station to, where is it? There it is. To create a item from it. In this case, Neutronium Cutlass, plus 10 attack damage, supermassive. To be perfectly honest, I'm still not quite sure what supermassive is. I genuinely haven't been able to figure it out. So, I'm afraid that explanation isn't going to come from me, unfortunately. These are the test dummies from... 5 damage. Okay. So, that's how Tinker's Construct works with this. But, before we continue, the Infinity Ingots. Doesn't work. No. No. Okay, so, with Tinker's Construct, the items made from Infinity Ingots, these ones here, let's click on one. Where is Infinity Tool Rod? Basic item. Click. It requires an extreme crafting recipe. Oh joy. So, the Neutronium items in Tinker's Construct, they're made just the normal Tinker's Construct way. The items made from Infinity Ingots require the extreme crafting grid. Again, yeah, that'll take up a lot of space. So, let's look at these one by one, shall we? Infinity Bolts. They require a Infinity Tool Rod, 3 Infinity Ingots. This is not how a normal Tinker's Construct bolt is made. Again, special recipes. Bow limb, just a line of 7. Okay. Infinity crossbow body. That looks interesting. Yep. Oh, crossbow limb. It's not symmetrical for some reason. Interesting. Infinity shuriken. Neat. Infinity arrowhead. Also neat. So yeah, I don't really have special comments about all of these. There is a lot to this. Some of these you can make them if you want. I personally, my opinion, I don't think all of it's worth it. Some of it's pretty cool. The full Infinity tools basically have, it basically works just like the World Breaker, in that it basically has absolutely no durability. It has, well, I say no durability. It takes no durability damage, and it basically works at creative speed when it comes to mining. My voice is cracking. Give me a second. Okay, I'm back. Yeah, the Infinity Tools stuff, it's very cool. It's got the face. It's very cool, and it's pretty useful. Tinker's Construct is a fun mod. But again, make your own choices, own decisions, do whatever you feel like. I really don't have too much to say about this stuff, just because there's just so much to it. Although I will say, before we get done with this, that item that lets you make the cutlass, that's the, I believe it's the wide guard. You'll notice that there is no part for the wide guard here. The wide guard stuff is technically hidden items within Tinker's Construct. Yeah, it's a little bit difficult to get. So, let's see here. Let's go into this NEI. Let's see if we can find it in NEI. Wide. No, it's not the wide guard. It's the full guard. Okay. Let's see. Nope. That's interesting to note. You cannot get an Infinity Cutlass through survival mode. Because the Infinity stuff requires special crafting recipes, and because the full guard is technically hidden items, and that requires you to use the tool forge and the tool station stuff to create, you cannot get it in survival. And just to make sure, just in case I'm not trying to give you false information or anything, let's look to see if there even is one in creative. There is. 54 attack damage. Wow, that's pretty good. But of course, you can't get it. You cannot get this in survival. You can only get it through creative. Okay, so I'm done with the Tinker's Construct stuff and the facade stuff. So let's take a quick look at the add-on here for thermal singularities. Now, if you were paying attention, you'll notice that the lumium, the enderium, and the signalum singularities were the only ones that were actually used to create the Infinity Catalyst. Press U. See? 1, 2, 3. But you'll notice that there are actually two more over here. Shiny Singularity and the Mana Infused Singularity. Why weren't they used? Well, let's press R to get the recipe. R. R? How about U for usage? No? The answer for that is pretty simple. They have not been fully implemented. They exist as items, but they're not currently craftable and they're not currently usable for anything. Will that change? Probably. If the mod creator continues with it. Sure, it'll probably show up eventually. Okay, so that's the end of this part of the video. This recording was about 2 hours long, so it's getting split up into a bunch of different sections. I'll be posting the next part shortly, so check that out when it happens. Bye!